haven't been able to finish those drives, and Noah Fafita, a big part of those problems with the 10 interceptions.
West Virginia won the toss. They will receive. And we're underway here in Tucson, and we talked about the quarterback situation. Now, injuries are a story for both of these clubs, but at quarterback, Nico Marchiol, admittedly, the head coach for West Virginia, Neil Brown, said he didn't do a great job last week, but he got a good week of prep in. This team needs a turnaround in some way, and Marchiol's going to have to be a big part of that story.
Yeah, and Neil Brown said it, and of course, if you play the game, you know it. It's something different if somebody gets injured and gets replaced, especially at quarterback, versus that quarterback knowing they're going to start the whole week and having to get all those first-team reps.
First play from scrimmage, that's a positive start. And Jaheim White, who was also injured last week, didn't play in the second half, but returns for the Mountaineers. We take a look at their offense. Wyatt Milam banged up on the offensive line. He will not play. But the big question was about White's status, and the fact that he is back is a big thing. Here is Marchiol. He talked about it. Not expecting much from his legs here today, but he's going to get a first down for the Mountaineers. Take a look at the Arizona defense coming in. Last 3 games, they've allowed 28, 41, and 34 points. They have been ravaged by injuries to a bunch of starters. 3 captains down for this Arizona team. A lot of new faces on defense. Shovel pass, here's White across the 40-yard line. And the tackle is made by Tay Brown, Will linebacker from Chandler, Arizona.
Yeah, Neil Brown, this West Virginia offense, and offensive coordinator Chad Scott said, Fox, we don't care about your pregame lineups. We're going to go with some tempo here at the beginning.
Marchiol to pass, and he has a man down the sideline, but overthrew Rodney Gallagher. In coverage, you had Genesis Smith for Arizona.
Yeah, and Chad Scott, the offensive coordinator there in West Virginia, he said, Rodney Gallagher, he's a guy, we just have to find a way to get him the football. But he's come out exactly the way he said he was in the meetings. He said, we're going to come out with some advantage throws. We want to get Nico comfortable, use his legs a little bit more than Arizona thinks. But you cannot miss those types of shot opportunities if you're Nico Marchiol, because you're not going to get a lot of those shot opportunities, certainly not with an open receiver like you had with Gallagher there.
And we'll see West Virginia vary their tempo to try to get this Arizona defense off balance. Marchiol to pass. On a quick slant, they'll get the first down and more into plus territory. It's Justin Robinson, but there is a flag down at midfield.
And maybe in some sort of motion penalty or legal formation.
Offside. Defense number 11. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Kevin Marr, our referee this evening.
Or it may be on the defense. Yeah, it looked like that one was thrown right before the snap. Right at the ball there is offside. You can see you're going to talk about the lay there. Coach Brent Brennan on his neck, he's got the lay, and see that with Dino Babers as well, guys from the island.
Of course, his defensive coordinator, Dwayne Aquina, a Hawaii native.
False start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So that'll be on Sullivan Weedman, redshirt sophomore, to back up the Mountaineers. There were a lot of high hopes for Arizona, not just because of what was built previously under Jed Fish, but they were able to bring back a whole bunch of their starters. Of course, injuries have played a part in that. They believe the culture of this program will help sustain them through. They just got to fight through what they're dealing with right now.
That's it.
Get back the penalty yardage here as Trey Smith makes the tackle on C.J. Donaldson. Second down and 9.
Yeah, and Trey Smith along that defensive line, man, he's got some twitch to him. You see him coming off that edge, but sticking his nose in there, stop the run as well.
Play action. Marchiol rolls to his left, and nice check down. Traylon Davis makes himself available. Good decision making from Marchiol. Going to be close to the marker and a 3rd and short, it appears.
Yeah, this was a nice job by Davis. You could see him getting out in front like he was going to be a lead blocker, but you see Marchiol, he just looked so comfortable today. And remember, he got all those first team reps throughout the course of the week, but Chad Scott, the offensive coordinator, this game plan is built around what Marchiol was comfortable with, whereas before it was built around what Garrett Green was more comfortable with. Doesn't mean that there's a huge difference, but he just seems much more calm, much more confident today.
It's be 3rd down and 1. From the 35, high snap, handoff, Donaldson, 1st down across the 30. And he's tackled physically by Javion Celestine, redshirt sophomore.
Donaldson's an interesting story too. You know, he was a wide receiver in high school. You know, he's 240 pounds, came in as a tight end. They said, your best chance going to be play running back. Said, okay, start giving me that rock, and that's what he's doing now. See him, big guy, getting downhill.
Caught a glimpse of Dwayne Aquina, the defensive coordinator, who returns to Arizona. He's been on this staff now for 2 years in his 2nd stint. Motion up front, and they'll whistle this down.
Man, what a pleasure it was talking to Aquina.
Yeah.
Too. Wow.
Legend, underrated legend in coaching.
Unbelievable. You know, from the
Offside. Defense number 8. Number 8 was in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty.
I don't think folks at home have an idea of how many NFL players Dwayne Aquina has produced over his tenure. National championship defensive coordinator at Texas, multi-time Pac-12 champion at Stanford.
Well, the most fun part for me, though, was him talking about playing quarterback against Warren Moon, because he was there at Washington, got there at the same time. He's like, he saw the other guys throw and said, oh, I got you guys. He saw Warren Moon throw. He's like, ooh, that guy's going to be a problem. I'm not going to be able to just take his job. But he's turned out to be a great defensive coordinator.
On 1st down, handoff. This will get him across the 20-yard line, but a flag comes in at the end of the play. Tay Brown on the tackle after a gain of 4 for Jaheim White.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's going to be on Weedman, his 2nd penalty already.
I'm talking more about Aquina here in a minute. Just comes in a little bit tight for that handoff. Oh, nice lateral movement there.
He might have had 66. Jaquay Hubbard on the penalty, not 56. So
just a little grab, but Aquina, just love his approach to the game. You talk about him being an absolute legend. And I love the fact he says guys just need to be different once they get between the lines.
Play action, and White on the screen, bowled out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down after a gain of 6.
Well, Chad Scott, again, the offensive coordinator, you know, he talked about having these advantage throws they're doing at, but look at those numbers for Aquina. And when I said, you know, guys have to be different when they get between the lines, he said, you know, when you're away from the field, I want you holding the door open for your girlfriend. Be a nice guy. You get between those lines, you got to become an animal. And that's the way his defenders play. But he talks about that culture of resilience. You know, the Desert Swarm all the way back in the day with Teddy Bruschi. He was around for the formation of that. Incredible guy.
Like there may have been movement up front, but no flag thrown here. Taitai Uiagalelei makes the tackle for loss, and it's 3rd down and 9.
Well, I think this may be on the road. This may be 4-down territory anyway, but if you're Nico Marchiol, this is where quarterbacks earn their money in the very real sense in the NIL era. You know, you get into 3rd down, you get into the red zone, end of half, end of game. This is one of those situations. Be calm, rely on training.
Oh, he drew him off. He created the false start with that hard count.
Well, that
Start. You're still 3rd down.
now a slight difference. Sometimes, you know, with Garrett Green being out, you have slight differences in the cadence. But, you know, you go with that silent clap like that, guys just have to sit in there. I can't tell. Was that Yates that got moving first in the middle?
Maybe.
I mean, center can't do it, right? But you got to be smart. What a costly penalty in the red zone.
Boy, a bunch of flags to begin the game. 3rd down and long here. Swing it to the outside. And Justin Robinson made an initial move to get by the first man, but he'll be pushed out at the 25-yard line. Genesis Smith on the play for Arizona, and it's 4th down.
All right, nice tackle there by Genesis Smith. And, you know, in talking to Dwayne Aquina, he said that because of the injuries they've had on the back end, you know, you can't put in all of the defense that you want, but a guy like Genesis Smith, who's normally going to be playing a safety spot in the back, you get him up to the front because those are where the changes are going to have to be made, and they rely on Genesis Smith to be able to handle the larger volume of defense.
Field goal attempt here on the way and good for Michael Hayes, who was one of the top kickers in the Big 12 this year. We'll step aside. West Virginia off and running.
Even down here, I think, what is it, Sabino Canyon, and just gorgeous down here. And then, you know, they said one of the advantages of being down here in Arizona is that, you know, they're the only game in town here. You know, it's Tucson is a million. There's a million people in this area, and just obviously gorgeous. So, you know, any advantage you can get in recruiting, but ultimately it comes down to the money so many times these days. I know we'll get into that conversation later, and you know, college football's got to look more like NFL, not like baseball, where you don't have the cap, you don't have revenue sharing, because the haves and the have-nots, this thing just isn't sustainable.
So it'll be Arizona ball here. West Virginia overcoming 3 penalties. They converted a couple of 3rd downs to get points. And this will be taken out from the 2 by Jeremiah Patterson. And good starting field position for Arizona, who have lost 3 straight and 4 of 5 entering today. Noah Fafita coming off that terrific freshman campaign, but decision-making has been a theme, a bit of an inconsistent season. It also didn't help. He was sacked 7 times last week, a little banged up coming into this week, but we expect them to get the ball to Teteroa McMillan quite a bit.
Yeah, Teteroa McMillan. It was so great hearing Dino Babers talking about him. He said, it's Larry Fitzgerald rules, man. He said, if he's single covered, you throw it to him. And he's double covered, wait until he gets open, then you throw it to him. And he said, if he's triple covered, take one last look before you throw the ball, see if he uncovered.
So Fafita, last year's Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year, will hand it off to Quali Conley. Offensive line that does have a little bit of injury trouble, not too bad all things considered, but they've jumbled up the order there from left to right. Conley at running back here, and McMillan, of course, a huge feature of this offense that has struggled to score, just 23 points per game this season, second to last in the Big 12. Empty backfield on 2nd down. And Fafita to pass, drops back, fires, caught at midfield. It is McMillan. Stop cut, moves back to his left, spin move across the 40. That is the talent and the prowess of Teteroa McMillan, and they're into West Virginia territory.
Yeah, it's such a big target, 6'5", 212 pounds. Watch him on the in cut right here, and West Virginia just not playing tight enough as they said that they needed to with their zone coverage.
Pickup of 28 for McMillan, and here a gain of 3 for Conley on 1st down.
Yeah, and Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia, said, you know, we're not necessarily going to play a lot of man-to-man, but, you know, when you're playing in those zone coverage, you're not playing like a true NFL type match coverage, but when you're playing zone, you got to get your eyes on the quarterback, and you need to sense or feel those wide receivers and squeeze those routes a little tighter.
Another handoff for Conley, who slips the initial tackle of Trey Lathan, still on his feet across the 20, and the ball came out.
Yeah, it came out as soon as he got hit.
Garnett Hollis comes away with it. And what looked like a promising drive for Arizona, they are bit by the turnover bug where they have struggled all year. 16th turnover for the Wildcats this season. And West Virginia comes up with an early takeover. Yeah, 16 turnovers. That's a lot. West Virginia hasn't been great at takeaways this year. They have a really rough turnover margin. Shovel pass here on 1st down. Jaheim White rounding the corner. And we'll see how close this is to the marker. But this West Virginia team, I mean, it was kind of a weird first drive anyway. They nearly got to their season average in penalty yards on their first drive, and yet they got 3 out of it. 2nd down and 1 here. Almost 7 minutes eaten up off the clock on their opening drive to get that field goal.
Switch up the receivers. Ronnie Gallagher now moving to the outside. They're going to motion him back into the formation.
Play action from Markiel. He'll pass, and it's caught at midfield. Traylon Ray. Considered a game-time decision. He's been banged up a little bit this year. Jack Luttrell on the tackle, but West Virginia into plus territory.
And Dwayne Aquina, the defensive coordinator for Arizona, said these guys, again, because you got some new faces back there, just not quite seeing things the way that they need to. A little bit late reacting to that throw wide open up the seam. But I love the way that Chad Scott, the offensive coordinator for West Virginia, has started here today, getting Nico nice and comfortable early.
Markiel will keep this. Gain of 1 here. Chase Kennedy, Utah transfer, makes the tackle. But this West Virginia team, this is a glimpse of what they're capable of when they can move the ball. And I think that's where a lot of the fan frustration has come in, is just how flat they looked the last 2 weeks. On second down, Markiel to pass, launching, sideline. It's incomplete. Intended for Ray. And he had Manny Carnley in coverage.
Now, I'm not sure if Carnley got a hold of his right hand, but it looked like Ray was only able to get his left hand out, extended to try and catch this football. We'll see if he grabs that right arm. I don't know why he only put one hand out there. Come on, man, you don't need to circus sketch there. You get 2 hands on that one, you might catch it. Markiel could not have gone out and placed that ball any better. Now, I don't know. It doesn't look, I know that he kind of fell and the shoulder might have been hurt, but that looked like the left shoulder. No reason for him not to get that right hand out there.
5-man rush, and a quick hitter with Gallagher across the middle, and a first down all the way down to the Arizona 31, 15 yards, and another first down.
Just way too much space, and I know that you've got some new faces back there on that defense, and Maldonado hurt, Stukes hurt, of course Manu hurt at the linebacker spot, but you just can't play that soft. And I know maybe they just haven't seen it, right? You hadn't seen it from Garrett Green, kind of hitting the open guy, but certainly Markiel today, especially on those underneath throws, you play that soft, he's going to make you pay.
One of your top defensive tackles, your top linebacker, your top safety, all out with injury.
False start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Already, that is the 4th penalty on West Virginia. 3rd false start.
Boy, I didn't see that one. They called that on Hubbard?
Well, the ref, his mic's been cutting in and out, so I'll try to read lips as best I can. Didn't get that one, though. So on first down, Markiel, play action, drifting back. It's his check down, and the tight end, Cole Taylor, who's knocked out of bounds near the 20-yard line. That's enough for a first down, though, or at least close to the marker. We'll see. Yeah, they are going to move the chains.
Yeah, and Cole Taylor, 6'5", 255 pounds. Another injury there.
Yeah, Manny Carnley hobbling off.
Boy, that's tough.
And he's emerged as one of the better young pass defenders in the Big 12. So they'll have to tend to him on the Arizona sideline. The last thing they need is another one on the injury list.
Right,
no more than 6 Wildcats, Robert, have started every game for them. And that's both sides of the ball combined.
Yeah, that's brutal. It's one thing, you can talk about next man mentality all you want, but if you don't have a next man up roster, as Arizona certainly with all of the change up that happened with Fish leaving because of the timing of what happened with Nick Saban, made it difficult to get new players in.
Timeout West Virginia. We'll be right back. They have not been ranked since 2019. There are only 2 other programs that are power schools that have not been ranked over that span. And here's the thing, 3-17 against ranked opponents. And those last 2 games, it was almost like it was a silver platter for them. Couple games at home, you could get right into the Big 12 title race, and they just fell flat. And that's where the frustration lies for these West Virginia fans.
Yeah, well, I think they would argue with the characterization of a silver platter being Iowa State and Kansas State, 2 of the best teams in the Big 12. Not making excuses for them. I'm just saying it has been a pretty tough schedule and a lot of injuries.
Yep. No doubt. Handoff here, and White will burrow ahead for a couple yards on first down. You're right. I mean, they've got a bye coming up there, but they had the toughest schedule in the league according to most metrics. Still, the results are the result.
You're absolutely right, and you're a fan of West Virginia, especially with the comments that he made a couple of weeks ago that rubbed a lot of those fans the wrong way. But this is the conversation that happens at so many schools around the country. Whether it's West Virginia or it's, USC, our guy's not winning. We got to find somebody else. Who is that somebody else? At some point, you got to be patient, maybe give a guy automatically 4 or 5 years, and a lot of it depends on the way that they lose as well.
White with the Mountaineers inside the red zone. Couple extra yards with the second effort there. Tackled at the 15-yard line by Owen Goss. Transfer from Colgate. And West Virginia at the start of the season, a lot of hype going into the Penn State matchup. Pitt has become a great story out of the ACC, right? I don't think a lot of people expected them to be 7-0, but Iowa State, good team, no doubt. K-State, good team, but gettable, I have a feeling. And that might be the sentiment as well across the Big 12. Avery Johnson, though, he continues to impress week after week. Here's a 3rd down and 3. West Virginia's 3 for 4 on 3rd down to begin the night.
Watch the legs of Marchiol here.
And he tried to step up and couldn't get away. You were right on it, partner. He tried to get away, but Stanley Taful got to him.
Yeah, he's certainly not the runner that Garrett Green is, but there were the opportunities, but Dalton Johnson came up from that safety spot, and this is the way that Dwayne Aquina plays his defenses. He knows with quarterbacks like that, even though they aren't huge runners, kind of seeing what they did earlier in the drives, you can have those guys trigger early, get their eyes in there, even though everybody else is spread out, and be ready for him to take off.
Another drive with glimpses, and they're going to fake the field goal. It'll be taken for a first down and a touchdown! Leighton Bechtel, the holder. West Virginia fakes him out for 6. No flags on the play.
How great is that for Leighton Bechtel and his family, right? This is a guy that's already graduated, got his energy land management degree, high school All-American in lacrosse, and he knew he probably knew that the fake was going to be up today. He didn't think fake was going to be the touchdown, though. So wherever his family is, I'm sure they're jumping up and down, and he's about as excited as could be. I wish we had heart monitors on the guys during games. His is about 180 plus.
Hey, we saw a bit of a trick play from Arizona to begin the game last week. They tried the onside kick. How about West Virginia? A fake and a touchdown.
And a nice job handling the snap right there. It's a lovely day.
It has been said that
Start for West Virginia. Fake the field goal to get the touchdown. They're up 10-zip here.
Yeah, and maybe a couple of missed holds on the outside here. You see Cole Taylor coming out, and he's putting a block on Dalton Johnson.
The play right before that, Johnson got to the quarterback, couldn't wrap him up, right?
Yeah, but how about Bechtel right there? He handles a bit of a low snap on the extra point for the touchdown that he scored. He's all excited, telling the stories on the sideline.
Now Arizona, they've only run 4 plays in this first quarter. 31 seconds left in the half. 7 first downs for West Virginia. And Arizona's been punched in the mouth here at home. The Wildcats with their longest losing streak coming in since 2022. A little bit like West Virginia, Arizona coming off a flat game against a big opponent, hosting Colorado, homecoming game, sellout crowd. This is family weekend here in Tucson this weekend, so parents in town. All the hotels and restaurants around Tucson pretty busy. Wildcats begin at the 25. Quick hitter, McMillan spins away from the first tackle. He's just So elusive. And he'll move ahead for 3 or 4.
Yeah, and Tetaroa, T-Mac, 6'5", he's got pretty good lateral movement. And, in talking to Dino Babers, he said he's not an elite speed guy, but he goes from 0 to vertical faster than anybody. Knows how to convert into those jump balls.
So that'll take us to the end of the quarter. Tetaroa McMillan, Arizona's first ever AP preseason All-American, but they need more from him. West Virginia out to a 10-0 lead in their first ever trip to Tucson against Missouri, the 1998 Insight Bowl. But this is the furthest west that West Virginia has been in quite some time. Nice run to get some extra yards here on first down for Quali Conley. But West Virginia, they haven't played a game outside the Central or the Eastern time zone since 2008. And an injured Mountaineer here. Double check, that might be Trey Lathan.
I think it's Fagan.
Montez Fagan, you're right.
Well, they, of course, with the injuries they've had on the back end with Burks and Carnes.
Yep. Down 2 starters. One at corner. One at that hybrid spear position.
Yeah, and Fagan's one of those guys too. I mean, he's such a good tackler on the edge, and you don't always see that from cornerbacks, right?
Right.
You don't always see those physical cornerbacks, and he's in a lot of pain there.
Redshirt senior transfer from Charlotte, starting in place of Aiden Garnes at corner here today, and he'll be helped off the field by the West Virginia athletic training staff.
Of course, Neil Brown, talking about the game a week ago against Kansas State, said he had never seen anything like that. You had the 4 starters out from that first half, just so banged up. And we talk about just how different it is now in the era of NIL and the portal, and how these teams, they need a GM, they need pro personnel, they need scouting, recruiting, just all kinds of things. It's tough. Next man up mentality, but you need a next man up kind of roster.
Fafita with time, slings it complete to Jeremiah Patterson for a first down across the 35.
Boy, and what I love from Noah Fafita right here is how poised he stays in the pocket. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but number 5, Sean Martin, is bearing down on him. No pun intended. And he just stays in there, takes the hit, absorbs the hit, and delivers a strike.
Kendrick Grisano eating the backfield. Oh boy, he got buried across the 40. Pop back up to his feet. And Fagan, who had to sit out for a play, might have just been a cramping issue there with Tyron Bradley. Second down at 7.
Yeah, I think back got tripped up there as he was getting through the line of scrimmage. That can happen sometimes. It's why we do those rope drills, man. You got to pick them up and put them down.
Beg your pardon, it was Anthony Wilson Jr. on that play with the safeties. Second down. And again, it's Risano. And he's tackled by Reed Carrico.
Well, you talked about the domination, really, of the clock here and of the plays for West Virginia. Arizona here with an opportunity, 3rd and 7. You see if they can convert. Looks like West Virginia, they're showing man, but they may bail out here.
Empty set. They pick up the blitz. Fafita connects with McMillan across midfield. And to the West Virginia 40, a gain of 19, and a 3rd down conversion much needed for Arizona.
Boy, what a throw by Noah Fafita here. And you watch the strong release from McMillan, and you see Trotter right there. He's got his eyes on Fafita, and he knows what's coming. But as a quarterback, it's important to know not just the capabilities of your wide receivers, but the limitations of defenders, and he knew he could throw that off of the ear of Trotter What a great throw.
And off Conley. And he'll pick up 2 on first down. I mean, Fafita and McMillan, it's a story that's been told over and over. They've been friends since the 8th grade, played together at Servite High School in Southern California. And those two were instrumental in keeping some of the key components on defense around for Arizona, and really have been instrumental in selling this program to recruits. They are big time bought in, even with the coaching change and Brent Brennan here. They feel strongly about the culture of this team.
Pass.
Now McMillan thought about it.
Down.
And he will. We'll see where this was. He was behind the line of scrimmage. Fafita. How about that? The former high school teammates, they know how to find one another on the football field, and they connect for a big play.
The R squared, P squared, O. Run option, pass option. This is amazing. I've never seen this where they're setting up for the double pass and things break down, but he just stays calm, knows that Fafita is still out there, and gets the ball to him. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, he's got one of the top receivers in Arizona history, and now a quarterback who's throwing for plenty of yards, but the roles are reversed. No gain here on first down.
But to your point about this program and what happened with Brett Brennan, we talked about the timing of what happened. Nick Saban, then Kalen DeBoer leaves Washington, then Jed Fish leaves here, and then he comes in, and he wanted some continuity, right? Not just from a player standpoint, but from a coaching standpoint. And because Joanne Aquina had been around here before and was around last year as a consultant, and Dino Babers had been here before, he wanted guys that really understood Arizona and what it took to be a coach here.
Fafita hits McMillan again across the 20. And a stutter step across the 15, close to the marker. And Arizona on their 10th play of the drive, they move the sticks at the first down.
Yeah, Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator, sometimes you're going to live by the sword, die by the sword. You want to try and pressure and get that ball out of Fafita's hands, and they just vacated the middle completely. And that, that's the chess match that you have as a coordinator. And of course, Matt Adkins became the play caller all the way back at the Utah game. He did a nice job anticipating the pressure and having an answer.
And off for Risano. Ole Miss transfer, tackled by Josiah Trotter. Second generation player. His dad, a 2-time All-Pro linebacker. Dantes Fagan back in, as you saw there.
Yeah, and Jordan Leslie talked about, as a defense coordinator, Jordan Leslie talked about Josiah Trotter becoming more of a vocal leader, and that's something that we really hadn't necessarily seen from him. But I think with what they faced this season, with all the changes and the injuries and all of the heartbreak and the losses, he knew he needed to step up that way.
Conley got by the initial wave, and he's ripped out of bounds inside the 10. Marked him out at the 7-yard line. A gain of 6. It'll be third down for Arizona, however, and a 3-yard to go here. They've got to get to the 4. Important play on this long drive, controlling possession. They have three third down conversions already on this drive. We'll see if they can punch it in or get another conversion.
McMillan by himself.
Fafita goes to him, and he's tackled shy of the goal line, but it'll be a first down and goal for Arizona.
McMillan a little bit slow right there, but I like the play call. You get a little bit of motion to isolate McMillan, and then you bring him on the quick slant, give him all kinds of space. And I love the throw from Noah Fafita with the pressure, changing the arm angle. And like that, I referenced in the open, it kind of looks like Kyler Murray when he takes off sometimes. I love the way defenders talk about it. So it looks like, looks like a little kid that's running away from their parents.
Especially with that,
he's dangerous.
Especially with that hoodie flapping in the wind. Handoff for Conley and a touchdown for Arizona. Seventh touchdown of the season for Conley. And Arizona's on the board.
Well, you have to respect the ability of Noah Fifita to run, so they go with a little zone read right there. Nice job blocking on the interior, and that's exactly what this Arizona team needed. An answer down 10-0, had not possessed the ball at all, but they finish it most importantly with 6 rather than 3.
Fifita was a perfect 5 for 5 on the drive. Extra point is good. Conley with the score, and Arizona with an impressive drive. Wildcats are on the board, 10-7 in Tucson. He's going in on campus, I'm sure, next week. Everybody's going to have a fun.
Dressing up?
No. I got to work, man.
I dressed up today. They said dress cool because it's going to be hot, so I wore my fanny pack.
I did see that yesterday, yeah, in the meeting, so I wasn't going to call you out on it. Anyway, here's Markiel and the West Virginia offense back to work. Tell you what, both teams, we see why they were highly regarded coming into the season, especially with their offenses, their ability to control clock, move the ball, and maybe a chance over the latter stages of this season to correct some of the ills that have plagued them. Both teams at 3 and 4. Trying to get back to 500. Movement up front, could be a free play. And a screen pass caught by Donaldson as he'll round the corner, across the 30-yard line. Pushed out by Genesis Smith.
It's Tay Brown pushed him out of bounds, but you know, to your point, I mean, get the call from the official
Offside.
here.
It's number 11, 5-yard penalty.
5-yard penalty, and you called it, partner. It was a free play there. But to your point, I mean, Neil Brown talked about it in his press conference this week. They just need to be better in the pass game, offensively and defensively. A lot of throws that they weren't making, they're making today with a much more calm and prepared Nico Markiel.
First down and 5, Donaldson in the backfield. They fake it to him. Markiel gets 1.5 yards. He is stuffed. Stanley Tafuo, USC transfer, the 6th-year senior, 5 seasons in Southern California, comes over here to U of A. Probably didn't want all that Big Ten travel, just Big 12 travel instead. Second down and 4. Handoff. And this will get him about 1 yard shy of the first down with Donaldson again.
Boy, and Donaldson, we talked about him before, came in as a tight end recruit and covers a lot of ground with his lateral movement for a big guy. He just wasn't able to squeeze his way up in there. And we've seen Nico Markiel use his legs a number of times tonight. Here, another opportunity. You get 3rd and short. Try and spread everybody out. Give him an opportunity to convert with his legs.
Arizona D looking for their first stop of the evening.
Zone read to the right.
They hand it off, and the second effort will get Donaldson the first down. Last year, he was the leading rusher for West Virginia, finished top 10 in the conference in rushing yards. His best game of the season this year came in the win over over Oklahoma State, I should say, but he's only averaged 2.5 yards per carry since then over the last 2 games. Good start here tonight, though, and he moves the sticks.
And here they're spreading out that Arizona defense again. Playing pretty soft in that zone.
Off the sweep, it's White rounding the corner. First down and more in Arizona territory. Can he be caught?
Ooh.
He's ripped down inside the 15. Owen Goss finally got to him. What a run to set up West Virginia.
Well, I love the play call. You go into empty and you get Jaheim White in the motion. This is kind of like all the way back to those Pat White and Steve Slaton days for the West Virginia fans. And Clemson fans not happy about those memories from the Orange Bowl that year. Jaheim White shows him the tail lights, but Owen Goss able to keep him from scoring.
55 yards and a first down and goal for West Virginia. Longest play of the season is a run play for West Virginia. Handoff. Woo. And this is blown up in the backfield. Preston Fox is ripped down. Dalton Johnson there for Arizona. Taitaui'ui'alele. We're back to action here. Nico Marchiol on a 2nd down and goal after a 55-yard run. Longest scrimmage play of the season for West Virginia. Shovel pass. It's White, stiff arm, but no gain on the play. Maybe even been a loss. Let's see where they mark this. Forced out by Dalton Johnson, 3rd down.
Yeah, Dalton Johnson had made that play previously. Coming up out of that safety spot. We haven't heard Hudson Clement. Haven't heard his name called yet tonight. And he's a guy Chad Scott said he can win on that man-to-man coverage. It looks like he's going to be isolated on the right side of the formation here.
Gallagher in motion. Marchiol pumps, rolls, pumps again, and he's knocked down inside the 5. Tacario Davis, who's been dealing with a groin injury the last couple weeks, knocked him down. It's 4th down and goal. What do you do here if you're the Mountaineers with 3.5 to go?
Looks like you go for it. You're coming on the road after disappointment in so many previous games. As we've seen time and time again today, Nico Marchiol, not the runner that Garrett Green is, but you get him on the edge. And the thing that's a little more difficult with the ball being on the left hash and the left-handed quarterback is you got all that space to the right, but you don't necessarily want to roll him to the right. At least it's harder.
So they'll talk things over on the West Virginia sideline. West Virginia, their first 2 drives, a field goal and then the fake field goal for the touchdown. This will be a 4th down and goal, 3 yards to get it with just over 3 minutes left in the half. Keep in mind, Arizona will have the ball to begin the 2nd half. And Arizona, a defense that has been just ripped apart due to injury. Can they come up with a stop here? Coming off a 27-point loss to Colorado, the largest margin of defeat for an Arizona team on its homecoming day since 2002. A team that came in with such high hopes, even with a coaching change.
Yeah, you had guys playing on that defense that had never even played games before. No snaps before last week.
Can they come up with the stop? Here we go, 4th down and goal.
Called again, Hudson Clement, right side of the line. Good man beater.
Marchiol receives the snap with one hand, fires, end zone, Clement, touchdown! On 4th and goal, West Virginia scores, and the Mountaineers extend the lead.
Well, they're going to start him off on the right side, and he's going to work his way all the way back across the formation. And what you do right there is you get those natural rubs, right? And you can see defense, they were kind of expecting it. Dalton Johnson tried to get his hand in the way. Hudson Clement said, I got this one, my man. But a great throw right there from Nico Marchiol. And this is what that West Virginia offense had really been missing. More accurate play out of the quarterback position.
On the first pass play of the drive. And how about that snap, too? Marchiol snaring it with one hand.
And they've had some problems with the snaps in weeks previously, but you know, that's just a quarterback that's in control, right? The guy's just completely poised. And I know that Neil Brown didn't want to say it to us, that, hey, we're excited to get on the road, and you hear that in the press conference because of what had happened with some of the comments that he made, but it is better sometimes to get a road trip. Everybody's just thinking about the game.
Well, they've gotten away from the noise, and they have been just fine in the desert.
You look like Rocky and over the top, man. He's ready to win a couple arm wrestling matches.
His dad, Ken, played in in the NFL a little bit. He's a linebacker. Noah Fafita in Arizona will go back to work here, and let's get a glimpse of what makes him good.
Yeah, and the thing about Noah Fafita, we know about the interceptions, but the thing that I love about him is the way that over the last couple of weeks he's really gotten more comfortable stepping up into the pocket. Earlier in the season, he would escape or try to escape when things started to get crowded around him, but now he's really starting to feel comfortable staying in that pocket. And as everybody knows in evaluating football, especially with mobile quarterbacks, they try to cage them. They try to keep them in the pocket. It can be a little bit more difficult to see things for a shorter quarterback. He's doing a nice job standing in there.
And completed at the 30-yard line to the tight end Kean Burnett. We thought would be a game-time decision here today. Josiah Trotter on the tackle here. Fafita, you mentioned he's thrown a bunch of interceptions lately. 6 INTs the last 3 games. His completion percentage is tanked compared to last year. And perhaps it's because no other receiver really other than McMillan has stepped up for Arizona at times. But he is perfect on the day so far. Handed off to Quay Conley. No gain on this play. It'll be 3rd down. Hammond Russell, the nose tackle, making the play defensively for West Virginia.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I know that we've seen some catches from McMillan today, but it can be so difficult. And you talk to Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia, you say you just almost always have to find a way to get another defender. Hitting one.
Under 2 minutes to play, first half. Arizona down by 10 at home. Fafita scrambling, stepping up, and he's tackled well shy of the line to gain, and it'll be 4th down with Arizona deep in their own territory here. Let's see if West Virginia burns their final timeout with 1:48 to go in the half, and it appears they have. Just want to clean up something I said earlier. This is the first time West Virginia has played a regular season game outside the Central or Eastern time zone since 2008. They've played bowl games in Phoenix 2015 and 2021. But since meeting Colorado in what was a non-conference game at the time, September 2008, and remember that was just after West Virginia had won the Big East title and the Fiesta Bowl. They have not been out here for a regular season game since. And a healthy contingent of West Virginia fans here, even with all the noise swirling around Neil Brown over the last few weeks. Can he and this team rescue their season from the brink? First punt of the game. Michael Salgado Medina, true freshman, won the starting punter job after week 1.
Sounds like an Iron Butterfly song.
I have no idea what that reference means, so I'm just going to move on. Fair catch signal at the 19-yard line. And a little bit of a bump there. That's, oh, come on.
No way.
They're going to, yeah, they threw the flag. Yeah.
I saw.
Yeah. I get it. It's letter of the law.
Just got a little too close.
Yep.
When you're back there returning them, though, you like
Yep,
that.
I get it. I get it. Just, you know, I'm knowing I've seen enough football.
They're having the conversation about it here, and it's
right.
Probably, did he get blocked? No. Oh, wait a minute. There is no foul.
Interference. First down.
Yeah, he was so far. Yeah.
Thank you.
You thought it might have been the touch on the way by.
Yes.
I thought that they might have been too close. Yeah.
That's what they said. There's no kick catch interference. There wasn't. We're all good. Let's move on.
We're not going to make any officials comments.
Just give credit to the long snapper, Justin Holloway, for getting all the way down there.
Well, I like it when they have those conferences, though, and they talk through it like, nah, we can't call that.
Figured it out. It's all good. So Markio will hand it off here. Gallagher is shoved out of bounds. Gain of 6. Clock stops, 1:41 to go in the half. And again, Arizona will have it to begin the second half. West Virginia has scored in all 3 of their drives. I tell you what, Nico Markio has looked composed, confident and in control. 9 for 11 on the evening, 95 yards. And the only pass he threw that last drive connected on the touchdown.
Got some space on that right.
And he's going to go to his left. Got a nice block across the 35, and he fumbled the football. Was this possessed in bounds by Owen Goss? That's the question.
Owen recovers the ball, but he doesn't recover it in time. He gets it. Once he gets control of the football, he's out of bounds.
There's a fumble forward out of bounds. It will be replaced back to the fumble spot. We're going to wind the clock.
Yeah, that left foot's out of bounds right away.
Maybe
more importantly, that clock winds if you're Arizona.
Maybe a bit of an ambitious finish to the run there for Marchiol and a gain of 17.
Someone took one in the nose. Yeah, nice job punching that thing out. Yeah, he never possessed it anyway.
Yeah.
Nice job jumping on it, though. Who was that? Who's that got that pop?
You know, last year, Nico Marchiol, when he came in, kind of similar circumstances because Garrett Green was injured a bit last season. And Marchiol subbed for him off the bench, then had one start. Came against Texas Tech. Went 12 for 21 on the day. Threw for a touchdown, but also threw 2 picks. Let's head to Mike Pereira in Los Angeles. Good to see Mike. I love the 3-piece suit you've got here today. What do you think of this play?
Well, I think that it's a fumble out of bounds as they've called. Look at, he does have his right toe down when he first gets possession. But this is just like completing a pass. You're going to the ground, so you've got to survive the ground. And what happens when he gets to the ground here, the ball pops out. So they should leave this as ruled, as a forward fumble out of bounds, take the ball back to the spot of the fumble.
And so is that the same timing issue as catching the ball as well, Mike, because he doesn't control the ball? Like, as you said, he gained control and that right foot was down, which I didn't see, but that's not enough at that point because he's going to the ground?
Yeah, that's the key, because he's going to the ground. So we're really not counting steps here. It's just the element of time. Does he have something to do, a second type of act going to the ground? And you can see here, as he heads to the ground, this ball's going to pop out. So to me, if you were looking at him as a catcher of a pass, it's really the same type of thing. So, you know, I think, in my opinion, you would have this as just a straightforward fumble. Don't think it's enough to overturn.
And also, just for clarity here, Mike, while we've got you, in terms of timing, would the clock then wind as soon as the ball's ready for play?
That's correct. Since they have a forward fumble out of bounds, that's correct.
Okay. Appreciate it, Mike, as always. So 1:25 to go in the half. And the timing would be of consequence because Arizona then, if they wish to, would have to burn a timeout, wouldn't have the clock stopped for them. West Virginia up by 10 on the road. This offense for the Mountaineers.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. The ball will be placed on the 40-yard line, first down. The clock will stand by ready.
They've had success running the ball this year, averaging more than 200 rushing yards per game. 5th in the Big 12, but it's been the arm of Nico Marchiol that's gotten a lot of the work here today as well. 147 rushing yards for West Virginia, 95 passing yards. And the clock winding, a first down for West Virginia. Donaldson tackled in the field of play after a gain of 1, maybe 2. Arizona calls timeout.
Put a few extra whistles, the Mardi Gras whistles again.
I put time back on the clock here. And for West Virginia, the danger for them, and the reason why we say this is a game of pretty large consequence, they're in danger of their 4th losing season in a 5-year span. And And we've already documented their struggles against ranked opposition, but it's not just enough for this team. That the thought was that they were going to take another step here this year and be contenders for a Big 12 title. You cannot let this slip away and lose out on the postseason altogether. A loss here would certainly put them in danger of that. Now their schedule to finish, as tough as it may have been to start, is a little bit more favorable, but they absolutely need this here today, and certainly Neil Brown needs it as well. So this will be a 2nd down and 8 from the 42-yard line. Three-man rush. Markiel with time. Markiel, and will hit his running back check down, and Donaldson at the 45. And Carnley on the tackle, gain of 3, another timeout.
Arizona wants to conserve time now. They get a stop here. You have another opportunity to get back and get some more points here.
And again, Arizona will have the ball to begin the second half. Well, as disjointed as it looked early for West Virginia, a nice recovery here, and defensively for Arizona, we documented their struggles and their shorthanded roster. Wanted to simplify things this week. Arizona team, you talk about the postseason. They haven't been to the postseason in back-to-back years since they went to 4 in a row, 2012 to 2015.
Yeah, but I loved when we had a chance to talk to Brennan. Just kind of said, we just want tough guys that love football, right? You just can't concern yourself with all that noise. I know everybody says that, but when you have guys, especially when you have some of those guys that are hurt, like Manu and Stukes coaching on the sideline, they can deliver that message firsthand.
And the Wildcats only bring 3, but it's a hurried pass as they got to the quarterback. Tofuo forced the hurried pass from Markiel, and as a result, it's 4th down.
You got to punt this thing away. You don't want to put him on a short field here.
Yeah, it's not close. 4th down and 4, and they will bring the punt unit.
Yeah, and the bad thing there, you're West Virginia, you go out of bounds there as well.
Right.
Arizona doesn't need to burn that final timeout.
Right. Stopping the clock with 58 seconds. That's a mistake.
Go for a fake.
Now they'll punt it away. Oliver Straw, deep punt from inside the 7.
Oh.
And a hard hit onto Jeremiah Patterson. Only a 4-yard return after a 47-yard punt. So Arizona with 1 timeout and 49 seconds to work with. Given how much they've been bitten by the turnover bug, do you try to press here?
Well, I mean, you don't press, but you try and get some big chunk plays. You see a lot of times what happens early, in the possession. Do we have a completion? Do we get a nice gain early? And then as you go on, you get a little bit more aggressive. But this is one where you tell Noah Fafita, don't take any unnecessary chances throwing into coverage, but you certainly don't just sit back there and wait for halftime.
They'll go empty, and Fafita will pass. And he's looking to take a shot, instead hits his check down. And Conley will scurry out of bounds after a gain of 6. Give him 7.
Well, you talk about clear out routes.
Yeah.
Devin Hyatt was about 50 yards downfield on that one.
Fafita's still perfect on the evening.
So they might have been hoping that nobody was going to follow him. Just get a free chance because you don't want to get too risky on throws like that. You wonder, you're almost wasting a route.
Let's see what they do here. Fafita scanning, throwing, nearly picked, should have been picked. Jaheim Joseph in and out of his hands. It's 3rd down.
He's going to try and fit this ball into McMillan, and Patterson's going to have a chance at it as well. But you're absolutely right. That's why the guys play defense, right? It's Jaheim Joseph. You know, he just gets so excited, like, got to catch it with your hands, man. I got it, I got it, I got it.
First incompletion of the night for Fifita, who had more receptions, one, than incompletions up until that point. On third down, swarm, Fifita gets away as he steps up, gets across the 20, and scampers out across the 25 to stop the clock with 28 seconds. Arizona still with one timeout. He moves the sticks. It's a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, not bad. You still have an opportunity to get a couple throws, get this thing up there. You know, you got a field goal kicker in Loop that's 3 of 5 from 50 plus.
His career long and season long is 54. Still a long ways to get the field goal range, though. Under half a minute to go in this first half. Fifita rolls to his left and throws it away. 19 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, just unusual route combinations for me, right? Like, I'm not an offensive coordinator, but I tell you, you want to have more underneath options for some catch and run opportunities, you would think, instead of just having 3 or 4 really deep routes in a situation like that. I know that you don't have a lot of time, but you know, defenses are set up to stop those deeper throws, and they're going to allow some of those underneath throws.
Keep in mind, Arizona has changed their play caller. Matt Atkins now. Fifita swings this over the hands of the tight end, Kean Burnett. Clock stops with 14 seconds on the incomplete pass. Third down.
Now you don't take any of those wild chances. You know, the odds of converting one of those long throws versus throwing a pick, which he's almost already done on this drive, aren't very good. So don't expect them to be too aggressive here.
And right on cue, they'll hand it off to Conley. And that'll take us to the end of the first half. So West Virginia on 245 yards of offense, including almost 150 on the ground. Out to a 17-7 lead over Arizona as the Mountaineers look to get back to 500. Time for the State Farm halftime show. We'll send you to our Los Angeles studios. Mike Hill and Chris Peterson.
Yeah, West Virginia, 30 minutes.
We'll see. Arizona just 7 points last week, tied for the fewest they've scored all season. Only 7 so far tonight. And this gets blown up. Zay Jennings says hello to Jeremiah Patterson.
And Jennings, man, that's one of them adrenaline type hits. You come out after halftime, you get lathered up at the beginning of the game, you calm down a little bit at halftime, you come out and you make a hit like that, man, and it just gets them juices flowing. You can just see it, man. You just feel them kind of hits. And that really inspires your defense too, man. They're like, I got to get me some of that.
So the Wildcats will start from their own 12 here. Ball was ready for play, and now it's not. Something with the umpire here that they're having to discuss. All right, now everybody's set. And Noah Fifita and the Wildcat offense will go back to work. A redshirt sophomore with Raleigh Conley in the backfield. Fifita to throw, and Chris Hunter reels this in. First touch of the game for Hunter, coming off his first career touchdown last week. The redshirt sophomore at a gain of 6.
And we talked about those injuries for West Virginia, and of course Fagan goes down in that first half, and he was in at corner because Garnes was hurt. Looks like he's back in the game, but they're giving a lot of space on the outside, so you're going to kind of give that kind of free access. Matt Atkins making the play calls for Arizona. They're going to take advantage of it.
Fifita in trouble. He is sacked back at the 5-yard line. It's T.J. Jackson on the sack.
Savainai, the right tackle, gets beat on that one, and Fafita, he's just got to feel that. You got to feel that pressure. You can't have your eyes on the rush, of course, but you just have to know.
Jackson and Fatoma Malba bringing down Fafita. A loss of 12. Handoff, and Conley goes nowhere. Only a gain of 2 and a 3 and out for Arizona to begin the half.
And sacks are just absolute drive killers. You lose that kind of yardage, and you can only do so much, especially in a third down situation. And the whole defense is calling out, watch the draw, watch the screen, and you're deep in your own territory. You really have to be careful. And that's why quarterbacks have to know and have to be able to feel that kind of pressure in the pocket.
West Virginia coming off their worst defensive game of the season, even with missing some key players. Just a flat effort overall. They barely get this punt away. Salgado Medina in a short one that skips out of bounds, doesn't even reach midfield. Ty French nearly got to the punter. 36 yards on the punt, and West Virginia will begin in Arizona territory.
And Ty French bringing that pressure off of the edge, and Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator for West Virginia, you talk about his versatility using that guy as an edge rusher so many times because of his twitchiness, and you could see that coming to great use in special teams.
Ball at the Arizona 44, and by far the best starting field position for West Virginia tonight. By 31 yards.
We'll see if Dwayne Aquina, the defensive coordinator, will dial up some pressure on early downs.
And off Gallagher. And that's a good start. Gain of 6 and a nice run on first down. Jack Luttrell on the tackle.
And the reason I say you start to bring a little bit of pressure early in downs, because you want to avoid situations like this. It's just a great opportunity for a play caller. So much freedom because of the down and distance, because of 2nd and 4, because of the field position. You can go heavy play action and take a shot.
On the ground again. This is White. Flag comes in.
Thrown in the area of holding.
10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Well, we had the half to try to sort out the microphone issue, but couldn't get that done, so unfortunately.
I think this is going to be on the left guard, Tomas Rimac, and he just gets the arms right outside of the frame and turns, and then a little bit of an acting job from Kavan Darton. Those defenders.
It's called sales, Robert. He sold it well, right?
Acting.
So that'll back up West Virginia to the 48. On 2nd down, Marchiol to pass, and it's caught underneath by the tight end Cole Taylor. Pickup of 6. And that'll set up 3rd down.
Well, 3rd and manageable now. Going to be a 3rd and 8 situation, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't necessarily get to the marker here that this might be 4 down territory. You feel good. You can get a few yards on their side of the field, still go for it on 4th down. You don't feel that bad, even if you don't get it.
2-back set with Donaldson and White, but Marchiol will pass. Flag on the play here, could be a free one, and it's Donaldson to scamper out the running back screen, and we'll see here what the penalty is.
Yeah, early in the snap like that, it's going to be offsides. If that's false start, they would have stopped the play.
It'll be the 4th one.
Offside. Defense number 32. 5-yard repeat, 3rd down.
4th offside for Arizona tonight.
Yeah, and we've seen time and time again that clap and cadence. Nico Marchiol has thrown this Wildcat defense off. Now much more manageable 3rd and 3.
3rd accepted penalty on the Wildcats.
Well, Rodney Gallagher's in the game in the slot to the right of Marchiol. He's an alert type player. If you're the Arizona defense, they're bringing him in for a reason.
Another hard count. Marchiol, option pitch is off the hands of the running back. It's on the deck. And it's out of bounds.
I think Cole Taylor, as he's going to the ground, just kind of clips this thing with his ankle. Fortunately for West Virginia to just kind of knock this thing out of bounds.
That was a live ball for sure, and you're right, Taylor. Didn't draw it up that way, but winds up being a positive play. Oyunglele with the penetration. And it's 4th down, and by hook or by crook.
Decided not to go for it. It's a little bit too long. When that ball doesn't get kicked back, like, you don't have a fumble there, and you're in a 3rd and 3 situation. Just those few extra yards. We talk about just how different these staffs are now between having GMs and personnel guys. Well, they have data guys too, and sometimes there's a green zone for an offensive coordinator. Okay, we're green at 4 or we're green at 5, but we're not green at 7 or 8.
Just reviewing the spot here to see where this ball should be. Where does it go out? Or if this is a forward pass, perhaps.
Well, he kicks it backwards, and I know that you can't kick it forwards. We could bring Mike Pereira in the 3-piece suit to talk about that one.
Yeah, what they're
with that thing going backwards. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, what they're reviewing here is whether or not the pitch, whether it was forward or backwards. The kick was unintentional, so that is not factored in here. So it's just a matter of judging where the ball left the quarterback's hand and then where it was first touched. It looks to me like it's slightly forward, but then again, the rule is if it's parallel, if you judge this too close and it's parallel is considered backwards. And so that's what they're reviewing in this play.
Gotcha. So it would be at the original spot, so it would be 4th and 3. But what I was saying, Mike, is that correct? Kicking it, if you kick it even unintentionally backwards, the ball is spotted for the offense where it goes out of bounds. Is that correct?
That would be correct. Since if they deem that it's a backward pass, then yes, then it's where the ball goes out of bounds.
Gotcha. Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it as always.
Fellas.
Enjoy LA.
So if it's a pass and it's incomplete, it's 4th down and 3.
Yeah, and then you may go for it.
Right. Would you go?
Yes.
Okay.
And we just had that conversation.
Right. The green zone.
I don't need my data guy. I don't need the data guy to tell me.
Why don't you go down
3.
there a couple booths down? You could tell.
After further review, it was determined that the pass was incomplete. It'll be 4th down from the 37-yard line.
And again, this is one of those moments of the game, right? West Virginia, they got the touchdown on a 4th down to Clement, make it 17-7. They can absolutely take a stranglehold here. They continue this drive and get points out of it. Already a 10-point margin.
Stranglehold? Come on, man. 10 minutes in the 3rd quarter, there's no such thing as a stranglehold.
The way they're playing?
Yeah, but you see that offense. They're green at 3, obviously.
Yep. You can make this a 24-7 margin after just getting a 3 and out defensively. 4th down and 3.
Got that bunch set to the left where you may try and get some sort of pick, or you have Hudson Clement to the right side. Don't forget about Marchiol's legs. Everything is available.
Blitz comes. Marchiol, quick hitter on the slant. He completes it for the 1st down. Justin Robinson's first touch of the game gets him 10 and gets him a 1st down.
Yeah, nice play design there. Offensive coordinator Chad Scott. And get Robinson lined up just a little bit outside of that stack. Give him some room.
Tempo from West Virginia. Donaldson unable to get free from Owen Goss. And he's pushed back for a loss of 1.
It's that swarm mentality on the defense right there. Owen Gost, joined by his buddy Dalton Johnson on the tackle. This is what Dwayne Aquina wants from his defensive players. We talked about those original Desert Swarm defenses and pulling up that video, and he loves to pull up the videos, especially where you have effort-type plays and those secondary players being physical.
Play action. Markiel dancing, tons of time. Rolls to his right with blockers in front of him. And Markiel gets nice positive yardage out of that play to set up third down.
Give Dwayne Aquina, defensive coordinator for Arizona, a little bit more love. You know, so much of being a play caller, offense or defense, is anticipating what type of combination you're going to get from the offense or what kind of coverage you're going to get from the defense. And Markiel there, I think with some of the over routes that they had, they expected to clear out coverage on the backside. Dwayne Aquina had a zone look dialed up, and there were people there waiting for those routes.
Markiel facing a three-man front. Steps up in the pocket, tucks and runs, tripped up across the 20. Will that be enough? Marked down at the 19-yard line, and that was the line to make. It'll be fourth down. 4th and inches. Dalton Johnson on the tackle. Huge moment of the game here for Arizona.
How many times have we called Dalton Johnson's name tonight? Comes up out of the roof from that safety spot. Makes a nice play.
West Virginia already 3 for 3 on 4th down tonight. Low snap. Markiel, hand up. Donaldson will not be caught. Touchdown, West Virginia. On another 4th down conversion. And for the second time tonight, the Mountaineers have scored on a 4th down.
Boy, this one looks just like you draw it up. You go with a different type of counter. You get the 2 tight ends, Traylon Davis and Cole Taylor, leading up. And so many times on those 4th and short situations or short yardage situations, you get everybody stacked up at the line of scrimmage to try and stop that run. You get by that first line of defense, get an opportunity to pop a big one. And that's exactly what C.J. Donaldson was able to do there.
This Arizona defense so undermanned, bending and potentially breaking here. West Virginia has scored on 4 out of their 5 possessions. Extra point is good to balloon the lead to 24-7. The Mountaineers looking to get back to 500.
Eric B. and Rakim. Donaldson got paid in full. Them really getting some plays that he felt comfortable with, and you know, certainly not the runner that Garrett Green is. Certainly been great in the pass game. And not bad with his legs either.
No, not at all. Well, Arizona just
got to answer, man.
You got to answer. It just feels like when bad things have happened, it's snowballed for this team this year. Last 3 possessions, not much happening. Really need points here.
Yeah, and this is something that Coach Brennan talked about with us. Like, if you focus too much on the outcome, the process suffers. Just go out there and play the next play, handle the next series.
There's a 3-possession lead for West Virginia. Fafita locating McMillan. Not hard to find him at 6'5", 212. And his verticality, didn't have to leap that far to make that catch, but reels it in nonetheless for a first down.
Yeah, covered up underneath. Noah Fafita does the right thing and hangs onto the ball a little bit, gets it to his big man McMillan. And we've talked about his height before, and he's certainly not a burner, but I tell you, he does an excellent job of dropping his hips so he can get in and out of breaks quickly.
Easy to forget he had a broken foot this spring. Off the sweep. Stutter step and a physical tackle, knocking down Hunter. It's Anthony Wilson.
Yeah, they talk about him being a leader on that defense. fifth-year senior out of Columbia, South Carolina. And they love that, man. They get that free run to come up and make those hits, and nobody blocks them. That's that +1 defender that isn't accounted for in the run scheme. It's a big hit.
My bad. Fafita facing some pressure, flag thrown in the area of holding, and Fafita takes off, will slide across the 40. Not the worst move considering you get the penalty coming here too. 16 yards.
This might be on Miranda.
10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
So, no sense in burning your legs here.
Yeah, you're going to see Roberto Miranda on the right side of the line of scrimmage here. Those tight ends, and just gets a hold of that jersey. Easy flag right there. Miranda's from Germany. Aristoff, Deutschland. I get a little German every now and then.
I didn't know that about you. Second down at 16 here. 6.5 to go in the third quarter. And after the penalty, Fafita, as they pick up some of the pressure this time, and again it's McMillan, but he can't hang on.
Just a little bit high on that throw. You're going to see TJ Crandall, in the coverage, gets that hand up there, knocked that thing away, and looked like McMillan just couldn't catch that cleanly. May not have even counted, because I don't know if he was going to be able to keep that right foot in bounds.
Arizona 4 for 7 tonight on third down. Fafita has to get rid of it and does. Crossing pattern to the tight end Burnett. And he'll be ripped down shy of the 40-yard line. Good swarm there from West Virginia. Fagan and Wilson both there, and it's fourth down.
When we talk about holding penalties being drive killers, you know, that -10 during a drive, just so difficult to recover from that. Really a shame for Arizona. It was a nice run by Fafita. That's why you just have to be so careful, and you get those players, especially on the edge, and you just have to train them with guys like that to let go.
I'll tell you what, though, a week after Avery Johnson chewed him up, allowed 298 pass yards to K-State, as Arizona will cut down the return here on the punt. West Virginia's defense certainly looking a lot better this week. And they're up big on the road.
Really a great performance by this West Virginia team, coming up on the road after a couple of hard losses at home to dominate so far here in the desert.
It was back-to-back fourth down conversions on that scoring drive. Marchiol will take off. He scampers out of bounds, being forced out by Chase Kennedy. Maybe a gain of 1 here on the play.
He certainly doesn't have the speed of Garrett Green, but his legs are just dangerous enough, and we've seen it both on the edges with a little bit of zone read action. It's definitely enough to keep a defense honest, and Dwayne Aquina, defensive coordinator, some headaches, and certainly need to account for it.
Interesting background, too. He was a high school wrestler in addition to being on the football team, and grew up not far from here in Chandler, Arizona. Handoff here for Donaldson, and he's pushed back at the point of attack. Marchiol, as mentioned, his dad played in the NFL, but on that high school wrestling background, you don't see a lot of wrestlers that become quarterbacks. He said that there's nothing that quite tears the body down like wrestling. The practice, the conditioning, the one-on-one nature of the fight, and he felt he loved that aspect of it. He thrived in that kind of environment, even if it's different than 11 on 11 in a sport like this.
Yeah, I think both mentally and physically you have to be tough to be a wrestler, and that's certainly what you want out of your quarterback.
Marchiol nearly picked. That was a dangerous throw, aiming for Cole Taylor, and it falls incomplete. Dalton Johnson
Now Cole Taylor, we know he's got some pretty good hands, but generally speaking, you want to keep it on the frame of the tight end or of tight ends when you're throwing the ball. And Dalton Johnson, again, Mr. Everywhere. We've seen him all night long coming up out of that safety spot, making tackles on the edge, making tackles in the middle of the core, and doing a good job in coverage. Woo,
3 and out forced by the Arizona defense, and you're right, that came off the foot of Oliver Straw. Off the outside of his foot, it looked like a knuckler. And it's ruled out at the 35-yard line. First 3 and out for West Virginia tonight. 5G network. How about this comparison in time of possession? And West Virginia just, I mentioned the word stranglehold earlier. Is it starting to feel like that, Robert? Is it feeling like that already?
Patience, my friend. This is college football, remember. Anything can happen, but this is obviously a big drive right here. Got to end this possession with some points, preferably of the 6 with a conversion for 7.
Handoff, first down, good run. Out across midfield, Quali Conley.
Man, Conley's going to get swung down by Bradley at the end of this one. It's like he's a little bit frustrated throwing him down, but he throws him forward for another 3 or 4 yards. Maybe 2 or 3 yards.
18 on the pickup for Conley. And a first down for Arizona. Fifita in trouble. Under duress, throws it away.
And Josiah Trotter applies the pressure, flushes Fifita out. And we're able to pick Trotter up. Nowhere to go. We talk about the timing of routes and talk about the way that plays are designed to time up with the drops of quarterbacks, and you're not accounting for an unblocked player coming right through the A gap and Josiah Trotter. Those routes weren't ready.
On second down, handoff, Conley cut down to the backfield this time. And it was Mulba with the penetration.
Mulba, he's just an absolute beast on that defense. Jordan Leslie talked about how he's become more of a vocal leader, an emotional leader on that defense. He's one of those guys, as an offensive player, you get tackled by him a few times, it's like, okay, guys, we got to get him accounted for. He's got really violent, strong hands, but more lateral movement than you would expect from a guy more than 300 pounds.
On third down, Fifita backing way up into his own territory. Finds McMillan downfield. There is a flag. McMillan bails out his quarterback. And we'll check the penalty marker.
And this is why McMillan is so dangerous. And this is something that Dino Baber said to us. He said that McMillan goes from 0 to full vertical faster than any receiver than he's ever seen. And there may have been a hold there defensively on another receiver.
I mean, you just don't find receivers that size.
The pass, holding, defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Yeah, it's 6'5" that have a vertical like that. But it's also, it's not just the fact that it's a vertical, it's just how quickly he transitions. And, you know, again, for a guy that's 6'5", any taller player, generally speaking, you're not going to see as great the lateral movement, but it's that transition, his breaks in and out of his routes. So he does a nice job. You have to drop those hips and really get your weight down to be able to do that. But he also transitions into vertical mode to jump quickly, to elevate. And when he does, I can't even imagine how high on a backboard he's touching.
Blow this play dead. McMillan now up over 100 receiving yards tonight.
First charge timeout. Arizona, 30 seconds.
Okay. So a minute 54 left in the quarter. Looks like we'll extend this timeout, and so we'll step aside.
Well, point so many times, he's just so long. But again, better lateral movement than you would expect from a guy his height.
So on first down, they'll hand it off to Conley. McMillan 11th career 100-yard game. Oh, he hasn't caught a touchdown pass since week 1 against New Mexico. He exploded for 4 touchdowns, 304 receiving yards.
But you see the big contingent.
Yes.
McMillan family members. How great is that, man? Servite, California.
Originally from Hawaii, and here is a wide open completion for the touchdown. Sam Olsen, no flags. Much needed score from Arizona as the Wildcats claw some of this deficit back.
Well, we've talked about the secondary and the injuries that you have, and I think they just get the number count wrong here. And you can see Anthony Wilson move to the outside, leaves the middle of the field wide open. And of course, we don't know what the call was, but I'm guessing Wilson got his eyes to the outside towards the #1 receiver when he's got to have his eyes on the seam.
Missed the extra point, though. Hooked left by Tyler Loop.
And we'll take another look at this pass. And I know Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator, said we need to over-communicate, and here communication mix-up. And I think because that route on the outside, on the left side, runs free up the sideline, it spooks Anthony Wilson into thinking that he's supposed to cover out there as well. But anytime you have a route like that in the middle of the field, when you get a vertical route out of that position, safety almost is always the person that's supposed to have that.
Looked like a bad snap, bad hold, and as a result, the kick got hooked by Tyler Loop. That's the first missed extra point in Tyler Loop's career. It was a perfect 118 for 118 entering the day. I'll tell you what, though, Arizona, 3 big plays on the drive. Conley the run. McMillan, 23 yards on 3rd and 11. West Virginia here in Tucson. Nico Marchiol. It's stymied since an explosive start, an explosive first drive that was actually kind of hindered by all the penalties West Virginia took.
Yeah, Mr. Stranglehold, what are you going to say now? 9 points.
That's why I posed the rhetorical question to you. You're the analyst. Yeah. Marchiol is sacked. And finally, Arizona's defense comes up with a big play. Chase Kennedy.
You're going to see that pressure very quickly arriving. He just breaks free from that edge. Does the little dance. That's just defeating blocks, right?
4 straight weeks now with a tackle for loss for Kennedy. Might give a half sack to Tai Uiagalelei.
He's out of Dallas.
Loss of 6, 2nd down. Handoff, Gallagher, stutter step, cuts it back, makes another cut, but is stopped at the 25-yard line, and it's 3rd down and long here for West Virginia as the clock ticks down towards the end of the quarter.
And Dwayne Aquino, the defensive coordinator, here's that opportunity. Now, you get a 3rd and long. Maybe you were going to go a little bit conservative here if you're West Virginia, but if I'm a Dwayne Aquino, I'm going to give a little bit of pressure here, light him up, maybe force him into a bad throw, but probably not in this quarter.
That'll take us to the end of the quarter.
Space, anytime you're going to bring pressure, you need to leave somebody on an island.
3rd down and 9. Can Arizona's defense step up here once again against Marchiol? The pass caught across the 40-yard line. That's a big one. Hudson Clement on the conversion, and West Virginia moves the sticks.
Perfect touch on this throw is what got it done. And Jack Luttrell just not able to elevate to knock that ball away. What a throw by Nico Marchiol.
Into a tight window, too, for Clement, who had the catch at the back of the end zone for a West Virginia touchdown earlier. Here he converts on a 3rd and long. And across the 45, it's White to pick up 3. Again, White has been battling injury, left after the first half last week. That's why Markiel's in a quarterback as well. Injury to the #1 quarterback in Garrett Green. There was some speculation as to whether Green was pulled due to performance last week, throwing 2 picks in the first half, but he left due to injury. He's unavailable this week.
Yeah, as much as he runs, he really exposes himself to some hits.
Yeah.
You can see him hobbling after a few of those runs.
Markiel with time takes a shot downfield that's caught by Ray, staying on his feet. It's a touchdown for West Virginia. 54 yards for the Mountaineers and a huge response.
This is a long route that requires excellent protection, and that's exactly what West Virginia got on this one. You see Markiel had plenty of time, but I love the way that he climbed in the pocket just to give himself a little bit more time. And then you could see Jack Luttrell, who missed that 4th down pass just a couple of plays earlier, and he's not able to stop that throw. See them all fired up on the sideline. That's a way to go on the road and do it, though, man. Always love road trips.
Especially after Arizona inject.
You got to love college football, man. The way that this team has struggled this year, and I know that Arizona's been through their trials as well, but the opportunities at home the last 2 weeks for the Mountaineers, we talked about with Iowa State and Kansas State, and there's Markiel's papa, proud papa. Love it, man. Short trip for him to come see his son play. He's from Chandler, Arizona, a couple hours up the road near Phoenix.
Short kickoff. And they'll take the option for the touchback and fair catch. Season-long run we saw earlier. And now a season-long pass play for West Virginia. 54 yards on the touchdown. And what life there was momentarily for Arizona. Boy, that is a gut punch.
Next play, man. No quitting this team. Just go out and try and have another drive that just creates some points, right? That's all you can do. Go out and play your play. Do your 111th. I know it sounds like coach speak, but what else are you going to do?
It does sound like coach speak, sorry. Whoa, Fifita nearly threw that one away. Fagan got his hands on it.
Boy, and we saw Fagan go down with an injury earlier in the game, and he's playing little trap corner back there. And Fifita's not expecting him to be sitting there. Thought the route was going to take him off, and it's a nice job by Jordan Leslie, the defensive coordinator, changing things up. You expect that corner to be vacated. Had a chance to pick it.
Keep it on the ground with Conley, and the umpire got in the way, impeding his run just a bit, and it still will be a first down.
They did a little bump. The umpire did the little back bump with him. Hopefully we'll get a replay shot of that. Tell you what, the ump passed that test with flying colors, though, no pun intended.
Fifita throws, tight window, and McMillan unable to come away with it. Guarded tightly by Garnett Hollis. Great coverage from the West Virginia corner.
Yeah, he may have come down on McMillan's foot, but you called it, partner. Garnett Hollis, nice job breaking on that one. He turns. When McMillan turns, you just get their feet caught up a little bit. But Hollis, he's got great body control. I've seen that from him, and does a nice job not interfering with McMillan on that one, getting around the body, but getting his hands up to knock that thing away.
Fifita to pass, steps up in the pocket, and hits his target underneath, the tight end, Sam Olsen. Now that'll set up a 3rd and short. Coming into the day, McMillan only 116 yards shy of 3,000 for his career. We'll see if he can get to that mark. 3rd down and 1. Yeah, this play is blown up. Conley is met immediately by Tyron Bradley, the senior from Lubbock, Texas. Last week, he snapped a streak of 5 straight games with a tackle for loss. And he'll get one here with an injury to TJ Jackson on the play, the Troy transfer, who's been dealing with an injury of his own.
Yeah, he's been banged up the last couple of weeks. It's good to see him out there again today. But, you know, he's just one of those guys, and Jordan Leslie talked, but he's just a warrior, man. You know, at this time of year, most players have some bumps and bruises, but TJ Jackson, you can see him patting the trainers on the shoulder. He's like, that's right, I don't even need any help. Let me just get myself up off the turf. Love to see that.
Obviously 4-down territory here for Arizona. 4th down and 2. McMillan, we did see him hobbling just a little bit. Awkward step in tight coverage, but he's got the helmet back on. Coming into the day, he was 6th in the nation in receiving yards, leading the Big 12.
It just looks so effortless with him too, right? I mean, you see that a lot with taller guys, but he just moves differently.
Sweep action, and it's Chris Hunter to convert on 4th down. Tackle made by Dantes Fagan. Gain of 7, and Arizona moves the sticks into plus territory.
Yeah, Sam Olsen, the tight end, had a block on the outside there, and if you're a West Virginia fan watching the replay at some point, or if you caught it live, you might have thought that was a hold, but got away with it. 1st down, Arizona.
Fafita goes across the field to locate Conley. And he'll fight through that initial tackle. KK Tarnu got to him.
Boy, I love this finish from Conley. One of those guys that stuck around in this offense, and you know they had Coleman and crew that took off for Washington. He stuck around. Nice body lean to get a couple extra yards.
Blow this play dead here.
False start. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Called on the quarterback, Fafita.
He was calling for that snap a little bit early. May have jumped back.
Tarnu in trouble. And he'll be helped off. Transfer from Jacksonville State. He played under former West Virginia coach Rich Rodriguez there. Sorry, former Arizona coach Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, I was. You had me there for a second.
Like, wait a minute. Came out of my mouth, and I'm like, nope. Try again.
Michigan and West Virginia. Ooh.
Fafita stays on his feet, off his back foot, throws it away. 3rd down.
So we talked earlier about Fafita and what he's done to step up into the pocket, make some of those throws right there, kind of reverting to what the Wildcat fans were a little bit more nervous about, and probably led to the 10 interceptions coming into the game, just giving way too much ground when he feels that pressure. You know, normally quarterbacks are going to try and escape one way or the other, but he just goes straight back and just throws an air ball.
Fafita, sidearm delivery, hits his target along the near side, but the West Virginia defense is there. That's Fagan. Remember, he got banged up earlier in the game. Looks just fine now. Risano is forced out.
Yeah, and Zay Jennings came over there, the true freshman from Cincinnati, had that first shot at it. But you're right, Fagan, man, he was down, banged up a little bit earlier, and this West Virginia defense, all about that tough, bringing that hat. First play, 80th play.
This is caught for a 1st down. McMillan, who is now up over 3,000 yards for his career.
Boy, this is the high fastball from Noah Fafita, and he does a great job. Climbs into the pocket just enough and delivers an absolute strike to Noah Fafita, and loved the timing on that when he had that ball on its way as soon as McMillan was making his break.
11th play of the drive. And Fafita with a lot of time, but he's running out of it. And he is sacked by Hammond Russell.
Nice job with the coverage on the back end. And Fafita's, you got to have that clock in your head. You're a quarterback, especially if you're stepping up into the pocket. You know there are going to be some bodies there, and there's going to be some leakage from the backside, and they're able to get him down.
No.
Screen.
Fafita just throws this into the feet of his receiver in Patterson, just to throw it away. Third down.
You can hear everybody saying screen on that one. They had that one sniffed out pretty quickly, and you know that down in distance, you get 2nd and 15, now 3rd and 15. Watch the screen, watch the draw. You know you're in 4 down territory. You're going to be going for it, so don't get too greedy here. You know the defense more than likely going to be playing back just a little bit, giving up those underneath throws, try and get a run and catch, something manageable for a 4th down.
To pick up the blitz. Fafita launches to the end zone. Wow. Defender fell down, and McMillan has the touchdown. His first since week 1.
Yeah, you're right, partner. It's Lathan. It's going to be in the coverage there, the linebacker. No chance.
Was he helped?
He was trying to change direction. I think McMillan just kind of put a move on him. And, you know, Lathan's 6'1", 226 pounds, and he's not built really to cover a guy like McMillan. And he tries to backpedal just a little bit, gets his feet caught.
0 for 2 here, trying to make this a 10-point game. Arizona 0 for 2 on the season. Fafita rolling, throwing, back of the end zone, incomplete, knocked down by Anthony Wilson. But some late life for Arizona. There is a flag. Let's see if this will give them another shot here.
Some lingering conversation here. Let's take a little.
There is no foul for illegal touching. He never came back into play.
Okay.
The try is no good.
So that clears up that. And it's a 12-point margin. Arizona hanging on by a thread. They need a defensive stop. McMillan in the end zone. The Wildcats within a dozen.
November 4th.
Arizona defense, and what's going to happen here, West Virginia is going to be playing Tampa 2, and because that route ends up taking the safety, the first vertical route takes the safety, middle linebacker who runs to the middle of the field on a Tampa 2 is Lathan. He's going to be matched up against McMillan, and of course falling doesn't help, but a nice job play design getting 2 up to the 2nd level, 2 vertical routes to put that safety in conflict and have a bad matchup left over.
I'll give you full credit, Robert. This Arizona team is refusing to go away. Seriously, I mean,
well, they should.
But you think about all that they've been through, right? And how
awesome.
Things look, and you know how much of a gut punch that big 54-yard passing touchdown was for West Virginia. You get a stop here. All of a sudden, things become interesting. Under 9 minutes to play, plenty of time. Rounding the corner here is White. And White should have a first down here, but there is a flag. See if this is a hold.
Holding, offense number 87, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
And indeed, it is a hold. On the tight end, Cole Taylor.
You get that little jet sweep action. We saw a big play earlier in the game from Jaheim White on this one, and here you can see those arms get outside of the frame. A little bit of a ticky-tack call right there. But Just don't leave any down. If you're Cole Taylor, you got to keep those hands inside. So when you do hold, the refs just don't see it.
This is a team. This is a team, West Virginia, Robert, that does not take a lot of penalties, averaging 32 penalty yards per game. That's the 5th fewest in the nation. That's the 3rd offensive hold on West Virginia here tonight. And it really throws a wrench into this drive now. It'll be a 2nd down and long. Uyunglele coming up with a stop here. 2nd down and 16.
Yeah, and I mean, how many times have we said that tonight? Just how holding penalties can just be absolute drive killers. Backed up situation right here, and you just don't want to get too risky. I guarantee you. Watch the screen, watch the draw. Now we know they're a little bit thin defensively in that secondary for Arizona, so they're probably not going to play too tight. So you may have some underneath throws, but got to be careful with anything downfield.
High snap, Markiel turns, fires, and hits his target in Gallagher. But he is going to be swarmed and taken down. Defense was all over that. Uyunglele and Tafuo there for Arizona, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, they're going to try and go with the advantage throw, the quick throw to the outside, but Arizona was ready for this one. And how many times have the West Virginia fans seen those bad snaps here in the last few weeks, and it costs them again? Now, even if that ball's out there a little bit earlier, because I believe Arizona, and what would you expect? Dwayne Aquina, such a great defensive coordinator. He has those guys ready for that. Knows that they're going to try and get a quick throw and run after catch. Have those guys ready to rally and make the tackle.
Delayed handoff. Reed. So White will get to the 25-yard line. It'll be 4th down. And West Virginia will have to punt. And Arizona will get the ball here with about 6 minutes to go. Needing 2 scores. And Aquina, who's had a tough situation thrown at him, but one of the best in the business, 43+ years coaching experience, rejoining this program last year as a consultant and promoted to defensive coordinator.
He's just great. And guys that have been coached by him, they wear it as a badge of honor.
He has a reputation of putting guys in the NFL for sure. I was nearly muffed. I thought he may have touched that. Jeremiah Patterson.
Yeah, he had one of his guys that was down there, almost hit him.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. 6 minutes to go. Hey, Arizona's hanging around. West Virginia has been in control for most of this game, but what can Arizona do here if they want to come back in this? This is a good start. Out across the 45-yard line, it's Hunter.
Woo! Get the tunnel screen. Savaina on the outside. Another lineman leading up. Those DBs hate seeing that, man. Those big guys running free.
Fafita taking a shot. McMillan got it inside the 10. Arizona is roaring back. It's 1st down and goal.
Oh, and they run Tampa 2 again, and it's going to be Lathan who got beat on the touchdown. That's going to be in coverage, and he gets turned around. McMillan going up and making the contested catch because Lathan got his hand on that one late. Nice strong hands from McMillan.
Injury for West Virginia here, and that'll stop the clock.
Well, it looked like a non-contact injury. Is that Trotter?
Looks like.
You can see the 2nd number on that.
McMillan up over 200 yards receiving for the 3rd time in his career. And after a 49-yard reception, Arizona all of a sudden has 1st down and goal with 5:17 to go.
Yeah, the injuries keep piling up for this West Virginia team. You hate to see that, especially with a guy like Trotter.
Coming off a game, Arizona, where they scored their fewest points of the season. Can West Virginia's defense just hold them enough here?
And McMillan lined up in the slot. Watch him try and bring him back to the left across the formation.
On first down, Fafita, end zone, incomplete. Montana Lamonius Craig hasn't been targeted much, if at all, tonight. Fifth-year senior, former Colorado Buff.
And textbook once again from number 1 Garnett Hollis. We saw him knock the pass away from McMillan earlier in the game and does a nice job really compressing, as they say, Craig on that play. You take away his ability to use his hands when you just get nice and tight inside of there. Chest to chest is what they say, and when that ball gets up there, get your hands up through the receiver.
Fafita throws end zone, low contact. McMillan stopped his route, and it's an incomplete pass. Third down.
This in the rub play, pick play, depending on whether you're an offensive coach or a defensive coach. Got a little bit too tight on this one. Not sure what was happening there. It's like, wait a minute, he's pointing in there. You know, sometimes one guy's supposed to go over the top, the other guy's supposed to go underneath, but McMillan, you got to know better on that. You just can't stop your feet. You can't stop the route, even though it doesn't go the way you think it will. Just finish.
Arizona 6 for 12 on third down. Fafita throws back in the end zone. Incomplete. Flag on the play. McMillan nearly reeled it in.
Man, almost pulled in that one-handed circus grab, but it might be a defensive hold earlier in the route. You're going to see Hollis in coverage here. Oh, yeah.
Holding. Defense number 1. Just to the goal, automatic first down.
Right, just, again, we're being treated to a show here by McMillan tonight.
Yeah, we certainly are. And we had seen before Hollis, when he came back to a ball against McMillan, did a nice job not interfering. We saw in that last throw to Lamonius Craig, didn't interfere. That time, clear as day, though, man. He's like, I got to get a hold of something, or he's going right by me.
Arizona with a fresh set of downs from the 3-yard line. Handoff. McMillan, what is he going to do here? He's going to throw it back to Fafita, and he dropped it!
Oh.
He had daylight and would have had a wide-open score! And he can't believe it!
Oh, my goodness. Well, we saw this earlier in the game. It was more like a run-pass option, but I tell you, McMillan does a great job evading the pressure, the little jump pass, and no!
Oh, wow.
It's like he got his hands in an awkward position there. You know, the way that ball's coming in, sometimes if you're not a natural catcher of the ball, you can get a little confused, and he got a little excited. Just cup that thing, make sure that you catch it, and you walk in.
Here's Fafita with some daylight. Pumps, cuts to the goal line, got it! Touchdown, Arizona! Fafita knew the contact was coming, lowered his shoulder, and found his way to the end zone.
And he totally redeems himself. Drops the pass before, and watch him get physical. Turn up inside. He just jumping all over folks. No slide on this one. You see like the fake little throw just to try and freeze the defenders very quickly. And you see Tarnu, like he may have been injured at the end of that one.
Yeah,
he was caught in the splits.
His neck kind of got rolled there.
I think it's his leg. Like it looked like a hurdler. He was like in a hurdler stretch position, and they're grabbing the back of his hamstring. Whatever it is, though, incredible play by Noah Fafita.
Neil Brown arguing something on the West Virginia sideline.
Oh,
yeah, Tarnu.
I hate to see that.
Can't put any weight on his left leg. Wildcats will go for one here. And the PAT, they've missed one earlier today with a bad hold. This one is clean. With 4:35 to go, the Wildcats have stormed back to make this a 5-point game.
Boy, just so exciting. And that's why we don't say as announcers that any team has a stranglehold in the third quarter. Number one, because you don't want to lose viewers.
Sure, that's the cardinal rule of television, isn't it?
And then the other part is, it's college football, man. Anything can happen. It's just so great to see. And, what both of these teams have been through, coming off a couple losses in a row, both teams, just knowing what locker rooms are like. And when you go through stretches like this and everybody starts talking about, man, do you remember what we went through in training camp? I mean, literal blood, sweat, and tears together. Let's go out and play for each other. Let's go out and play hard. And I just love to see teams, no matter what the circumstances, from week to week, but in the course of a game, when they go down and then they fight back like this and put themselves in a position to come all the way back and potentially win it. I just love to see it. And love what West Virginia's done all day long, going on the road. And now you got your opportunity. You go down and score right now, game over, right? You score 6, pretty much. You can grind some clock here.
245 yards last week. Arizona now outgaining West Virginia, 386 to 382. And as much as we talked about West Virginia's defense needing to do something, well, here's the moment, right? We've seen West Virginia's offense respond to a big moment earlier in the game. This is where they have to put the pedal to the metal and close this one out with 4:35 to go.
And they were able to run the ball so well against a Kansas State team that really had been good against the run all year.
I mean, they're averaging 6 yards per carry tonight.
Now, some of that is distorted by the long jet sweeps.
Still.
But to your point, you want to try and grind some clock. High percentage throws.
Markhill steps up in the pocket, and that is a high percentage throw, hitting the tight end Cole Taylor, who's tackled across the 33-yard line. Gain of 7, 2nd down and 3.
Yeah, and that's just a great start right there. And I'm sure Chad Scott, the offensive coordinator, has gotten with Nico, said, look, man, it's been one heck of a night. We've done a lot of great things. We can't control what the defense does, and they've given up too many points. But this is your opportunity. Be smart with the ball.
On 2nd down, handoff. And they will come up short of the 1st down, a gain of 1. 3rd down. Again, we've talked about West Virginia. They have been able to run the ball. They've been able to do it all season.
Look at
the better running teams in the Big 12. Dwayne Aquino on the Arizona sideline. Can they come up with a stop?
Oh, I just love seeing it, man. He's shouting in the call. And if you're West Virginia here, use the legs of Nico Markhill. I think you go zone read here. They were able to convert earlier.
3rd down, handoff, and they'll get it. That's a big heart and throat moment for West Virginia fans. Jaheim White able to push it across the line to make with the 2nd effort.
Genesis Smith is going to come in and try and make the tackle, but I want you to watch just this little spin move. Jaheim White, this little spin right here is what gets that 1st down. You have to be so careful when you go in those spin moves and make sure you secure the ball, but that little spin on contact, we do that a lot as a drill for running backs, and that's exactly why you do it, to get that extra yard or 2 at the end of a run.
1st down for the Mountaineers, approaching a 2-minute timeout. Arizona with only 2 timeouts, keep in mind, as that clock moves. On the ground, gain of 2 for White.
You take that timeout before the 2-minute timeout.
2nd charge timeout, Arizona. 30-second timeout.
Mountaineers led this game 31-13. Trying to get back on track after back-to-back home losses, unable to break 20 points in either game. This year they have faced 4 teams currently ranked in the top 20, gone 0-4 against them. And granted, those 4 teams have had good seasons, but the opportunities have been there for West Virginia. And now, in a game where you cannot drop, if you're trying to look ahead and think about clinching postseason, getting back to a bowl game once again, already a game under 500, looking for a way to shut the door here in their first ever game at the University of Arizona in the regular season.
Doesn't get any better than this, partner. So much on the line, and you know what? It's football. No ties anymore. Somebody's got to lose. But it's the great part. It's what we love about the game. You go out and fight for at least 60. Don't worry about the results. Just do your job.
Second down. Option play here. The handoff for Gallagher, trying to spin away, and he's swarmed. And Arizona will call their final timeout with 2:06 to go, preserving even more time with a 2-minute timeout to come and a third down upcoming for West Virginia.
A big third down, and this is the game, really, because Arizona doesn't have any more timeouts. They get a first down here. It's pretty much game over. So Arizona gambling here. This is just so great. I love moments like this. Just so exciting, because you know West Virginia, game's on the line. You haven't necessarily lost it if you have to punt it away, but you have an opportunity here as an offense to end the game. But you know, with the quarterback Nico Marchiol getting his first start of the season, got to be smart too. You don't throw anything into traffic. Make sure you don't throw anything that goes to the other team.
Added 3 seconds. Third down and 7. Keep in mind, West Virginia, you can throw the ball because you've got the stoppage here, the 2-minute timeout to come. If you want to try and put this game to bed now.
Well, you got to throw here. You want to get the first down. End it.
Marchiol will try to do just that. Swings it to the outside. It's caught. It's a first down. Jalen Anderson's first touch of the game moves the sticks. He's out of bounds just ahead of the 2-minute timeout.
Yeah, but that thing's going to run down in 2 minutes with the clock running. It's a great throw right here. Great decision not to get too aggressive. You said don't do anything that's going to make that ball go the other direction. You had the opportunity, and you convert. West Virginia coming on the road. Arizona out of timeouts. Under 2 minutes when we get back.
Played the second half last week. Delivers a big first down conversion. And the Mountaineers will kneel this one down.
And that'll do it. And, you know, well, that won't do it. A couple more snaps will do it. But, you know, you could just tell with Neil Brown, just kind of the way that he was answering questions this week, you know, watching some of the press conferences. And you could just tell he was really anxious, right? He could not wait to get to that next game. He knows that they're a better team than their record. I know, hey, you are what you say your record is. They certainly have had some opportunities that they haven't converted on, made too many mistakes. I know all of that. But they are better than what their record would indicate to me. And to see them come on the road, play the way that they did today, congratulations to them. And on the other side, Arizona, I mean, you fought your way back. Both teams have had to deal with the injuries. And again, fans don't care. Fans, short for fanatic. There's Marchiol's father enjoying the finish of this one. Fan is short for a fanatic. You know, they're not known for their patience or being rational. They want to win, and they want to win now, always. They don't care how many teams have lost. You know, it's like the Goodfellas thing. Forget you, pay me, right? Like, that's all it is to fans.
One more kneel down. And West Virginia will get back to 500. We'll call final timeout here first. So West Virginia, we talked about how tough their schedule was to begin the season, but look at how they'll finish. 3 of their final 5 are currently at or below 500. So you know,
it's tough to win every game, man.
The thing is, for West Virginia, I think the frustration is they are, in all likelihood, out of the running for the Big 12 title, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the opportunity came about the last 2 weeks. But, you know, much like they did last year, I think last year, let's not forget, this team was kind of teetering a little bit and finished really strong. Won 5 out of their final 6 games, including a victory over UNC in their bowl game. There's still a lot left to play for West Virginia as they try to get back to the postseason under Neil Brown. Heart in throat kind of game if you're a Mountaineer fan, but they eke it out. 31-26 the final over Arizona here as West Virginia